Hi, thanks everyone so much for being here with me today. Once again, my name is Kelly Egan, and this is Nothing But Tracks. So, guys, before I get too started today, I want to make a correction to my first episode. I had talked about the time when I had broken my arm when we were camping up at Maumee Bay, and I had said that my dad had been the one who had decided to take me to the hospital when I'd green stick fractured my arm. Both of my parents have since told me that that's not true and that it was actually my mom who said, "No, David, we need to take her to the hospital." My dad's a kind of rub some dirt on it kind of person. And since I record my episodes about a month and a half in advance, this is the first episode I have recorded since then. So it's the first time I can make that correction. So, Mom, props to you for making that decision to take me to the hospital, or else, who knows what could have happened to my little arm. So thanks, Mommy. So, guys, this is Nothing But Tracks. This is episode 6, and today I'm going to be talking about the importance of getting a physical map. So before we talk about that, I want to tell you all the different places that you can contact me at. I have an email account with Gmail, which is nothingbuttracks77 with a period between each word. I'm also on Instagram, where you can find me at Nothing But Tracks, no spaces. My YouTube channel is called Nothing But Tracks, the podcast. So you can check me out any of those places, and I should also be on Spotify and a couple other streaming services, but those are the two places that you will 100% be able to find me and leave me some messages. If you want to, and you have a great story about the time a travel journal saved your bacon, or something that you've added to your packing list every time you go, or an emergency fund saved you, or an army hack, or a time that looking up or knowing when to put your camera down really helped you enjoy a moment, I want to hear about it. I want to hear those stories. So don't hesitate to reach out to me via email, YouTube, Instagram. Those are going to be the easiest ways to get a hold of me. So I appreciate everybody for getting to this episode, and let's just go ahead and get started. So, rule number 7 for Kelly Egan's Guide to Adventuring is get a physical map. So there's a lot of benefits to getting a physical map rather than relying heavily on electronics. One of those things is the most simple is that maps do not run out of batteries. Yes, you can carry external battery packs, but what happens if that thing dies? If you're out and about and you're not going to have the reliability of having something that has unlimited batteries, get a physical map. So this is actually a true story. I was hiking in Natural Bridge, Kentucky with my now ex, and we were hiking in the middle of winter. And so we pulled our phones out to take a picture, and both of our phones immediately died because it was so cold. So if there were to be a problem, there would be no way we could call for help, and we'd probably get lost. So get a physical map because they don't run out of batteries. Another thing that physical maps do not do is they don't run out of data or lose signal. Guys, we were in D.C., Washington, D.C., and all three of us, my dad, my brothers, and I, all of us had run out of data for the month, and we had no idea where we were. And Washington, D.C. is notorious for having terrible road markings. The physical maps don't run out of batteries, they don't run out of signal, they don't run out of data. So those 3 things right there are beyond just glowing recommendations to get a physical map. Another thing that physical maps do that GPSs don't is that they show everything in the area. My dad's favorite thing to do is break out a road atlas or a map, and we like to go to places that are kind of remote. So we look and we purposefully find the patches of green on the map, which indicates like state forest or a wooded area or rivers, and we like to go just drive those areas and see some really cool things. On a GPS, it doesn't always do that because you can set it just to show you highways or just to show you gas or just to show you food, which is nice, and there's a time and a place for that. But if you want to go find something really cool that you've never seen or that no one's ever seen before, you're going to find those things by looking at the map and saying, "Ooh, this place looks really wild. Look at all this green in this area. Let's go drive through and check it out. Yes, you can do that a little bit with the GPS, but GPS is you have to be interactive with. So if you're the driver and you have to like sit here and fiddle with it, that's something your navigator can do. They can fiddle with the GPS while you drive. But the value of a real physical map will always be there, because if you're in the middle of nowhere and your car breaks down and you don't know where the heck you are, you can bust out that map, find the road you're on, figure out which direction town is, and start walking, or whatever the case may be. So one of the best stories I have for having a physical map was the first time my family went to Washington, D.C. when I was, 4th, 5th grade. So a while ago, guys. And we had never really ridden subways before. And so there is this little plastic laminated hardcover map that you can get that you can fold up to about the size of a wallet. And on one side, I'm trying to remember exactly what it had on it, but one side was the subway systems with all the different railroad colors, and this is the red train and the green train or whatever. And the other side was like the big monuments, like the tourist stuff, where they all were. And it kind of told you what subway to get on and get off at, which ones were close by. And that thing was indispensable. When we were in Washington, D.C. for the first time, guys, they had broke a 3-day rain record for the most rainfall in 3 days. We were there for 4 days. We were soaked from head to toe. And if we had had a paper map, or if we just relied on our phones, one, our phones would have been in desperate need of a rice bath. If anyone's ever dropped their phone in their toilet, they know what I mean. And two, if we had a paper map instead of one that was like hard-covered laminated, it would have been soaked and soggy. We'd have probably had to wring it out because of how wet everything was. That map, I don't remember exactly where my dad had bought it, but I want to say it was only like $4 or $5. And it saved our bacon so much, so frequently, so often, that I will never forget just how much easier that thing made our lives. And when we got home, we found out one of my cousins had just moved to DC, and she didn't know her way around either. So we ended up mailing her this little laminated map, and she said she used it until it fell apart. So guys, get a physical map. Maps don't run out of batteries. Maps don't run out of GPS. Maps don't run out of storage space. It just, by having something physical like that and not relying so much on technology, you're taking a little bit of that power back. You're taking a little bit of that control back. And not to mention that they have everything on the map. They have food. They have gas. They have exit numbers. That's a big one, is that they actually have the exit numbers on the maps. So that just helps the navigator, helps the driver, helps everybody just know where they're going and what they're looking for. And it's also really fun just to sit down and look at a map and say, okay, this is the one place that we are for sure going. We're going to have 3 extra days. So in 3 days, we can get X amount of miles. So you can sit there and measure out and make yourself a big circle. Okay, this is the amount of area that we can get to in the amount of time that we have. What looks cool? And if you're anything like me, you start looking for those green areas. You start looking for the cool river beds. You keep looking for that kind of stuff. And then you go and you drive out there and you explore it and see what there is to see. Because you're not going to see it sitting on your couch. And you're not really going to get to experience it by looking at it on Google Maps. So get on out there, guys. Enjoy it. That's all I have for you today, guys. So once again, thank you for listening to my whole podcast. Shout out to Mom for being the real MVP up at Mommy Bay and getting me to the hospital. Props. Thanks, Mama. So once again, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Nothing But Tracks, on YouTube at Nothing But Tracks Podcast, and shoot me an email at nothingbuttracks77 with a period between each word at gmail.com. I want to hear those stories. I want to hear your thoughts, your feedback. If you have bitter complaints or you want to send me hate mail, fine, go for it. I can handle it. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for listening to Nothing But Tracks. Remember, leave it better than how you found it out there, and take nothing but memories and leave nothing but tracks. Bye!